Part 279. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2781. Bai Biao pretended to be extremely sad, and this guy became flustered again. Anyway, it looks very floating. After drifting to the end, it is probably such a gesture. Hurry up and form a team. When it's too late, there's really nothing left. Fang Fan twitched his lips, and then complained from the side. There's just no way to say it now. This guy is just too good at making things happen. The sense of rhythm is still so strong. Why? This is completely abandoning me. Fang Fan boy, you are so cruel. I didn't expect you to abandon me like a shoe. Aren't our previous friendships nothing? Why is it like this? This is too sad. It's so difficult. It's really too difficult. Bai Biao was deeply moved. While speaking, his lips twitched unnaturally. This time the thoughts gathered here, I don't know what to say, anyway, my scalp is numb. Probably such a pure state. Brother Bai Biao, let's form a team. Look for a few more like-minded people. I still have a few little brothers from the sanctuary of the fallen world, so we can follow along. Guisha looked at Bai Biao, then smiled and said. Bai Biao was stunned for a moment, then couldn't help but gritted his teeth. Can this be the same? Those are big guys who pick their feet. Can you match me with some beauties to form a team together? Bai Biao, like me, is also Mr. Pian Pian. It's nothing but nothing. It's nothing but nothing. While Bai Biao was talking, he immediately said with emotion from the side. It is probably such a pure feeling. After the feeling is in place, the mentality will take off virtually. You want to form a team of beauties. There are just a few over there, do you want to form a team for you? At this moment, Grand Uncle Ji came over suddenly, then glared at Bai Biao and said. Bai Biao was stunned for a moment, then glanced over there, and found that it was a few female students in the sanctuary realm. The entry standard for the first year seed class was the 3-star sanctuary realm, so this is basically the lowest cultivation level. Of course, Fang Fan is special and needs to be treated as an exception. And those few female students are also the group with the lowest combat power in the first year seed class. This is to form a team to kill the fleeing assassins of the dark camp, not to go sightseeing. It would be best if he could join a strong team. Not only would he be able to improve his assessment results, but his safety factor would also be guaranteed. If you form a team with these female students with slightly lower combat power, you will basically be completely involved. It will be clear what it will look like by then. At that time, the brains will explode immediately. It will be clear what it will look like by then. Probably such a state. For it. Then forget it. I'm still reluctant to let Brother Bai Biao go wandering alone. Some don't trust him, I still want to protect him. Bai Biao said sincerely. He knows exactly what his own combat power is. Although the defensive power is not bad, the combat power is basically scum. Doesn't this look like death? Who can survive a wave of slaps at that time? The brain exploded invisibly, and it was probably because of this kind of pure thought that gathered in the mind. When I thought of this, my mentality seemed a little collapsed. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2782. In terms of dogs, Bai Biao has never lost. Do not talk nonsense. You asked for it yourself. Hurry up. It's just that the police are there. Tai Shiji snorted, and immediately slipped Bai Biao Tai over. Bai Biao wants to cry but has no tears. He is too difficult. Just now, it was purely for pretending to be aggressive, so why did I just put myself in it? How can this be good? The mentality immediately exploded. What else can I say? When Bai Piao was arranged there, Grand Uncle G came over again. At this time, Bai Piao had already decided to form a team with those female students. This was indeed his wish before, but now he only has a bitter face. I have been praying to Tai Shuja from the sidelines, but it is of no use. Tai Shuja has always been the kind of vigorous and resolute person. Once a certain thing is determined, it is the kind to be executed directly. So Bai Piao's last hope was also ended. Cool. Master, what's the situation over there now? Fang Fan frowned and licked his lips as he spoke. Condition. Why? It's almost cleared up for now. Basically, the assassins and spies of the dark faction above the Holy Venerable Realm have all been killed. But it can only be said that it is probably. It's not impossible that there may be some accidents. I mean, anyway, you'd better be careful yourself. After all, this kind of thing is not that simple. If you don't control it well, the situation will only become more complicated. At that time, you must have something in your heart. If you really encounter the surviving dark faction Saint Venerable Realm, your first reaction must be to run away. But I estimate that the probability is 0. However, it is true that there will be some dark faction assassins and spies in the 6-star and 7-star sanctuary realm. What will happen at that time, you just have to control it yourself, and you have to know it in your heart. Tai Shiji let out a breath, probably explaining some things clearly. But then his tone changed again. If you really encounter a strong enemy of that level, you don't have to worry too much. As long as there is a little delay, there can basically be some turning points. Tai Shuji didn't speak too thoroughly, but probably the meaning has been expressed. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows. Good guy, there is still this trick? I really didn't know it before. This time around, it's kind of interesting. Delay for a while. Master, what do you mean, there is still a mentor protecting us in secret? Fang Fan's reflexes are not bad, he understands in seconds. This wave of feelings is in place, and it is basically clear. That's not what I said. The uncle shrugged his shoulders, and then began to throw the pot away. Oh. It turns out that there is still this way. Then I'm afraid of a hammer. Just go up and do it. Master, you should have said it earlier. It made me nervous for a while. Really are. If there is still a mentor to protect us, then I will go back and follow those beauties to travel around the mountains and rivers. Tisk, how pleasant. Bai Piao raised his eyebrows, while talking, then nodded with a smile and said. This wave is quite like that. Originally, Bai Piao was quite nervous, but after hearing Tai Shuja's hint, he immediately relaxed. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2783. Don't think it's so beautiful. Things are not as simple as you think. If you have this kind of thinking, you will definitely be the first to hit the gun. Uncle G rolled his eyes, and then complained angrily. Bai Piao opened his mouth, looking a little confused. Is there any danger in this? Generally speaking, only when encountering dark camp assassins and spies above the 6-star sanctuary realm, will someone take action. Under normal circumstances, they are all on hold. Even if you are beaten to death, it is unlikely that you will make any moves. You have to be clear about this. It's true that if you encounter a dark faction assassin in the 4-star sanctuary realm, even a small team of you can't defeat it. Even if the people behind the scenes want to save you, it is impossible. The school naturally has its own rules. But you have rough skin and thick flesh, so it shouldn't be a big problem under normal circumstances. Tai Shuja glanced around Bai Biao, then pouted and said. Bai Biao smashed his mouth, he was a little speechless at the moment. Why does it look like this situation is far from as simple as imagined? This. In the end, what will it turn into? It's so flying. This wave is really unstoppable. My brain is buzzing, it's useless. It's not a big problem, so there is a problem. Here. I wipe. It's still a Doomsday game. It's too difficult for me. The corners of Bai Biao's mouth twitched, and while talking, he held his forehead. At this moment, he didn't know what to say, he just wanted to sigh in all directions. This is too difficult. My brain is about to split open. What kind of trouble is this? The mission this time is mainly to stimulate your blood. According to the Deputy Palace Master's wishes, this time basically more than 50 people will be eliminated. In other words, there will be less than 50 people left in the seed class of the first grade. The ones left behind are the real elites. Now the Dark Camp is already taking action. It's not clear what will happen by then. Anyway, you just need to perform as best you can during the assessment. At that time, the school will give you a comprehensive score based on your performance. You don't need to be so anxious now, just know in your heart that there is such a thing. Tai Shuja let out a breath, while talking, then nodded and said. 50 people. Half of the people will be eliminated directly. It seems that the school has made up its mind this time. But in general, it is indeed the same thing, survival of the fittest and excellence. Okay, you guys, cough, cough cough cough. Tai Shuja wanted to say something, but suddenly his face turned red, and then he coughed a few times, his face looked a little unsightly. Master, are you injured? Fang Fan squinted his eyes and took a look, then followed up. No. Nothing. It's just, that is, there was an old devil in the Dark Camp who blew himself up when he was about to die, and was accidentally bitten. It's nothing serious. After taking Wanyangsuan lotion, there are basically no problems. Grand Uncle G waved his hand, looking indifferent, but the corners of his mouth could not stop twitching crazily. Apparently, Tai Shuja at this moment is far from being as indifferent as he appears on the surface. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2784. Naturally, it is impossible for a character like Tai Shuji to admit that he is intimidated. In essence, there is a sense of arrogance, which is very pure and real. Fang Fan secretly narrowed his eyes, and then took out a holy level healing card. Used it? Helping your injury. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows, and then said. Although the holy venerable healing card is expensive, Fang Fan thinks it is no problem if it can be used on his own master. What? Don't just worry about me, I'm fine here, really fine. Are you thinking a little too much? Even Wanyangsuan lotion doesn't have much effect. The uncle raised his eyebrows, and then gave a wry smile. According to his meaning, he felt that this thing should not have much effect, at least he thought so in his heart. Whether it's useful or not, you'll know if you try it. Are you afraid that I will poison you inside? Fang Fan curled his lips, then said with a smile from the side. You bastard. You really dare to say anything? I'm still afraid of you being poisoned. Okay. So be it. I think so much. Uncle G shrugged, and while talking, he immediately complained from the side. Needless to say anything else, this feeling followed invisibly. Tai Shuja immediately followed Fang Fan's instructions and directly crushed the holy venerable healing card in his hand. In fact, he really never thought that there would be any good healing effect, or if there is such a little effect, it would be excellent. Probably there is such a thought and idea in his heart, which is pure and true. But after using it, Tai Shuja's breathing could not help but become extremely rapid. This is not right? There's a problem. Mentality exploded. How so? Hiss. Impossible. Recovery as before. Not even a trace left. Good on. Why is this? Taishaji murmured to himself, while speaking, the corners of his mouth twitched unnaturally. Needless to say anything else for the time being, my mentality seems to be a little broken at this moment. The thoughts gathered here, and the facial expressions trembled all over. The state of mind at this moment can no longer be expressed in words. All in all, it is very shocking. Magic. It's really amazing. It's simply ingenious. So powerful. I don't need to say any more about other words, that's basically it. Fang Fan, my student, where did you get such a fetish? Uncle G was pleasantly surprised. What kind of healing card is actually better than the healing effect of Wanyan Xian lotion? To be precise, it should be many times better. Countless times. By chance. Master, be careful when you fight in the future. If there is nothing wrong, we will start to kill those dark faction assassins scattered around by ourselves. Fang Fan pondered for a while, and then followed up from the side. Go. Hurry up and go. Don't delay. Don't worry about everything. Remember what I said, don't be afraid when encountering extreme danger, there will be a turning point at that time. Call. Shocking. I still feel that this healing card is simply the handwriting of a true god. While talking, Taishaji nodded and said, the facial expression changes are particularly exciting at this moment. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 2785. Seeing Taishaji's appearance, Fang Fan shrugged subconsciously, and he couldn't say anything at the moment. Anyway, it's almost enough to keep it steady, and that's probably what's going on. Fang Fan secretly let out a mouthful of turbid air, thinking to himself, his eyes flickered with a different kind of brilliance. Time to show real technology. The seed class of the first grade is divided into 20 small teams, and they are going all round. Going in all directions, galloping away. This time is destined to be dangerous. Assassins and spies of the dark camp, how can they be so easy to deal with? In order to be able to train its own students well, Guangming Academy has taken great pains. Fang Fan's pair remain the same as before. Fang Fan himself, Xiao Liyulai, Lu Jiyi, Zhao Wei, and Daji. In addition, the 5 heroes Galen, Vega, Jax, Kyle, and Caitlin are also a combination, a team. The combination of Bai Biao and 4 female students can be regarded as his wish, but at this moment, Bai Biao's face looks a little unsightly, and the whole person will just follow suit. After this wave, it is really too difficult. My brain is buzzing unconsciously. This time the feeling is in place, and the idea is extremely profound. That's probably what happened. Real, yet explicit. As for the ghosts, they complemented each other with a few students from the fallen sanctuary. Without Bai Biao, who has been rambling on the sidelines, he suddenly seemed a little deserted. The 2 women, Xiao Liyulai and Lu Jiyi, kept staring at Fang Fan, wishing they could swallow Fang Fan immediately. Fang Fan rubbed his forehead, feeling a little headache for no reason. Follow along a little more steadily. Too difficult. 20 squads, basically in different directions, are obviously controlled deliberately, so as to save which squads will join forces when they can. It's not bad for a normal team to have 1 or 2 4-star sanctuary realms. In other words, the most they can deal with is the spies and assassins of the dark faction in the 4-star sanctuary realm. If you encounter a stronger one, in fact, you can only escape to a certain extent. The Academy asked us to come out for assessment and exercise, so it's impossible to kill us all. If you think about it this way, you won't think too much. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, thinking to himself, then nodded and said. These are, to a certain extent, relatively mature modes of thinking. Pure, yet sincere. Once a wave of ideas is in place, it basically takes off in full swing. What are you thinking about? Can you listen to me? Look, you don't even pay attention to me. Why do you look like this now? At the beginning, do you remember how you chased me back then? Humph. Back then you let little Pixie come over to attract my attention. You are completely changed now. How could it be different? Too strange. It's really weird. Are all men like this? It doesn't matter what you get. Too shameless. Xiao Liyulai suddenly followed up and said excitedly, while talking, she even revealed the old things from before. There was indeed such a short history. But it was also the reason in the first place. Thinking back at the beginning, it seemed quite embarrassing. At that time, in order to complete the task issued by the female slave system, I was quite helpless. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2786. Now if you really want to turn over the old account, it will also feel like your scalp is tingling. Because there was indeed such a deep memory. Cough. Little Liyulai. I will summon the mythical Pixie for you, you can do whatever you want. With a thought in Fang Fan's mind, he immediately pulled out the ignorant Pixie. Pixie God Beast glanced blankly around. Just now I was eating excitedly in the small world of Shushan Pavilion. Then it was forcibly dragged out. The Pixie mythical beast glanced around, and then saw Fang Fan and the others. Owner. The mythical Pixie approached excitedly, seeming quite intimate. This guy is just like Bai Piao, he can't afford it without profit. The reason why he is like this now is mainly because he wants Fang Fan to continue supporting him. It is really difficult to raise a mythical beast. This bastard thing is really delicious. No one can eat without him. If this can be eaten, it will explode this family in minutes. Fang Fan was deeply moved, he didn't know what to say at this moment, anyway, he looked like he was having a headache now. After a wave, the feelings are basically in place. It is really difficult to raise a Pixie. Pure and true. Now is also the time for him to make some contributions. You can't know how to eat all the time, can you? Doesn't this directly become a fool? In all aspects, we must follow and stabilize. If you can't stand it, it's really cold. It's the cool type? Xiao Liyulai said that she wanted to play with you. Entertain me. Don't mess with me. You can't do without your benefits. While Fang Fan was talking, tens of thousands of low-grade star cores were thrown over. Pixie's eyes lit up, and he quickly nodded and bowed. As long as you give the star core to eat, you can do anything, it doesn't matter to him, he will serve you wholeheartedly. Fang Fan. You've changed. You weren't like this before. Now you're starting to fool me. When did you become such a Philistine? Are you not feeling for me anymore? Do you think Lu Jiyi is better than me? I'm not bad, I just don't have enough experience, so I'm not as strong as her when catering to you. I can change all of these. From now on, I'll just cater to you all the time. While Xiao Liyulai was talking, she immediately seemed quite righteous. At first Fang Fan really didn't understand. Gradually, the expression on Fang Fan's face changed a little rapidly. This is so. Do you want a rhythm against the sky? Ah, this. Can you just stop a little bit? This pressure. Good guy. It exploded in a single wave. This wave of mentality is really unsteady. What are you talking about? Can these things be mentioned? Isn't it embarrassing? Now Fang Fan is so embarrassed that he is about to take off. So embarrassing. A miracle happened. Freeze said. Fortunately, there are no outsiders here, otherwise, I don't know what's going on. Fang Fan supported his forehead. Xiao Liulai was simply going too far. He doesn't know what to say and what not to say, anyway, just say it all in one go and it's over. Others don't need to say much for the time being, what I feel is probably the meaning. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2787. Now even these hidden aspects are involved. What's wrong with outsiders? Can't you talk about it if there are outsiders? So I still paid the wrong one after all. Don't you want outsiders to know about our relationship? Have you already had other plans? Is that what it looks like? While talking, Xiao Liulai seemed quite teary-eyed. Fang Fan. If a woman starts to be unreasonable, her brains will explode. This wave also looks too magical. Fang Fan breathed out a foul breath, and didn't know what to say at this moment. A wave of mentality immediately exploded. What else can I say? You'd better play with Pixie, a mythical beast. Hurry up and search for the shadow of the dark faction assassin. Hurry up. Fang Fan let out a breath, then supported his forehead, and said helplessly, thinking about it this time, his brain is about to burst. What else can I say? The school deployed a map for us. There are also some mission points on it, which roughly state the location of assassins from the Dark Faction. Bright Holy City, Suzaku Street, there may be 3 to 8 assassins from the Dark Faction, and their cultivation bases are between 2-star Sanctuary and 5-star Sanctuary. Bright Holy City, Tianhuo Street, there may be 6 to 10 Dark Faction assassins. Their cultivation base is between 1-star Sanctuary and 4-star Sanctuary. Basically, everyone is injured. Bright Holy City, Moming Avenue, there may be a 6-star Sanctuary level dark camp at this moment, cultivated to a 6-star high level Sanctuary, seriously injured, and extremely dangerous. Generally speaking, the information obtained from the school is quite detailed. Looking at it, these things can basically have a more detailed plan in the eyes. This time the thoughts are in place, and the eyes seem to be a little shifted. This is near Tianhuo Street. Just go there. According to the marks on the map, the opponent's strength can also be worse. It's not a big problem. Fang Fan pondered for a while, then raised his eyes, planning to practice his hands first. In this team, Fang Fan is still the absolute core for the time being. What Fang Fan says will naturally be what it is, and it is unlikely that other people will refute it. If you rush forward directly, you can basically see everything and the situation clearly. Tianhuo Street is close to the east city of Guangming Holy City, and it is a bustling street. According to the markings on the map, this group of people should have fled and hid in a hotel on this street. Looking for the past according to the clues on the ground, we can find some clues. This wave of missions not only assesses your combat ability, but also your abilities in all aspects. If your ability in all aspects is not up to standard, you may also have problems of one kind or another. Generally speaking, it is relatively true. If you are a little careless, there may be more things involved, so no matter what, you still have to follow it in all aspects, and don't slack off in the slightest. Walking on Tianhuo Street, the roadside stall culture is particularly prosperous. On both sides of the roadside stalls, there are clear shops one by one. It is inexplicably refreshing to glance at them. Anyway, basically all the feelings are in place, very real and very clear. With this in mind, the smiles on his face grew more and more. Fang Fan secretly heaved a sigh of relief, the corners of his mouth slowly raised, and all the lights in his eyes flickered. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2788. Husband, how do you find this? It's nothing. How do you find this? There's nothing there. This is too spacious. How can it be like this? Why? This doesn't feel right either. Xiao Liyulai held the miniature version of the Pixie Beast in her hand to play with, and frowned subconsciously while talking. Looking at the past, there is indeed nothing. How can I find it? Isn't this a joke? That's right, senior brother Fang Fan, not to mention fighting those assassins from the dark camp, and now I can't even find them. How should I fight? I can't do it at all. Lu Jiyi at the side glanced around, then nodded and said. Daji is silent. Zhao Wei smashed his mouth, but didn't say much. As for Fang Fan, at this moment, he looked at the three-story building with red flowers and willow green in front of him. It's fantastic to watch, both in scale and otherwise. Glancing over, his eyes flickered with a different kind of brilliance. Needless to say about other things for the time being, the feelings are basically in place. Yanshun Tower. Fang Fan. You, how can you look like this? Okay you really have changed. It doesn't matter if you are looking for other women outside, you are still a good family. This Yanshunlu, who are they? You're not a regular at this kind of place, are you? A pair of jade arms can be used as a pillow for thousands of people, and a little bit of red lips can be tasted by thousands of people. Don't you just like this? Woo 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 woo. You are too bad. You are so worthless. How can you still have such thoughts and thoughts? You can't. Xiao Liyulai gritted her teeth, and then her mood fluctuated greatly. Fang Fan really didn't feel it at first, but after Xiao Liyulai finished speaking, the black lines on Fang Fan's forehead involuntarily increased. Good guy. What the hell is this talking about? Can you please stop for a while? Does the brain really not hurt? This wave of mentality is directly cracked, isn't it? Just follow it a little more safely, okay? Fang Fan let out a mouthful of turbid air, and his facial expression changed very realistically. Where do you want to go? What am I doing here at Yanshun building? I just feel some spiritual fluctuations in this Yanshun building, and some bloody smell. Perhaps those people are hidden here. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, then nodded and said. As the name suggests, this Yanshun building is actually used to solve the physiological needs of some male practitioners. There are a lot of pretty female practitioners here, and they rely on these to earn some cultivation resources. Most of them are yours, and there is absolutely no threat to each other. As a cultivator, one does not necessarily have to be pure-hearted and ascetic. Things in these areas still need to be more prudent. Not only do you not need to be ascetic, but to a certain extent, you are very excited. After all, they were fighting and killing outside, and there was a lot of pressure from all aspects. In general, there is no way to vent, so places like Yanshun Tower came into being. No matter how fierce the fight outside is, there will always be a lively scene here. The business girl doesn't know the hatred of the subjugated country, but she still sings the flowers in the backyard across the river. Although it is not very suitable for the occasion, it probably expresses the meaning. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2789. The assassins and spies of the Dark Camp are inside. Didn't it mean they were all injured? Since you're all injured, do you still have the heart to toss around here? Why do I feel like you're fooling me? Xiao Liyuli's eyes widened, she spoke, and then followed suit. Go in and have a look. Get ready for battle. Fang Fan exhaled, he felt that his premonition should be right. If he guessed correctly, it should be just as he expected. So, it seems clear and direct. Fang Fan thought to himself, the changes in facial expressions were particularly real. This wave of feelings is in place, and the mentality is basically stabilized. While Fang Fan was talking, he immediately led people to walk inside. What a handsome little brother. Brother, do you have any friends in there? If not, let's see how my sister is doing. Brother, I can do anything. Young master, why do you still have your own woman? What kind of woman can't be found in our Yanchun building? At the door, Fang Fan and the others were directly blocked, and the screams of these women were quite ear-piercing. After a while, I felt a tingling sensation in my scalp. This wave of direct show in place. Needless to say, the rest for the time being, the feeling seems very real. Take a deep breath, and basically understand everything. In this Yanchun building, there are perfumes and powders of various flavors, some of which are too low quality, and smell a little sweet. Others don't need to say much for the time being, this feeling seems very real. A wave of feeling is in place, and the brain seems to be a little dazed. Probably such a state. Pure, yet real. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Not looking for you. We're just here to take a look. Don't touch my husband. Facing these rather active women, Xiao Liyuli couldn't help showing a flushed look on her face, and she was gnashing her teeth vividly while talking at the moment. Anyway, what is expressed is such a will. If you come to our Yanchun Tower and don't look for our sisters, what are you looking for? Could it be that you really came here to listen to music and watch a play? Little girl, you are too naive. Since this is your husband, you actually brought him along. If it really integrates into our Yanchun Tower, it will not be easy to pull it back in the future. The Yanchunlu woman standing at the door was talking, and then said with emotion. Okay. Prepare a table for us, let's go in and have a look. Fang Fan frowned, not bothering to waste time here, and then walked directly towards the Yanchun Tower. The closer he got to Yanchun Tower, the more sincere his feelings became. Anyway, that's probably what I felt. A glance at the past, pure to the extreme. Fang Fan's forehead wrinkled subconsciously, thinking to himself, his facial expression changed very quickly. Objectively, if you go there to find girls, that's fine. I can introduce you to them. You can even look down on me. There are many girls in there. But judging by your posture, I'm afraid you are going to do something inside. Doesn't this look a little bad? After all, we are all open for business. If you go in and make trouble, how can we do business? The woman from Yanchunlu who was standing at the door was talking, and then said with emotion. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2790. Apparently, the woman in Yanchunlu just wanted something to benefit her, so she spoke vaguely here. It's just too real. A wave of feeling is in place, probably such a pure feeling. Is it? Hee. Can I go in now? The chubby Zhao Wei took out a golden token, and glanced at the woman. Young master. Please come in. You, why are you here? I'll invite you to the housekeeper. The woman in Yanchunlu trembled subconsciously. While speaking, she subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and the sound of her breathing became extremely rapid invisibly. Anyway, what is displayed at this moment is probably such an attitude. It was tense and urgent. Invisibly, his lips were trembling slightly, probably because of such a pure feeling. No need, back off. Zhao Wei waved his hand, then shrugged and said. Following Zhao Wei, he turned his head and looked at Fang Fan with a smile. Boss, you can go in now. These people have no eyesight at all. Zhao Wei chuckled, and then complained from the side. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows subconsciously. Good guy, I didn't expect Zhao Wei to have connections here. This is fine. There are paths everywhere. This appears to be something. Fang Fan secretly squinted his eyes, thinking to himself, the facial expression changes are particularly wonderful. Thinking in my heart at this moment, the depths of my eyes flashed with a different kind of brilliance. Your family still has business in this area. Fang Fan glanced at Zhao Wei, and then asked. For it. It's all done by my father. I persuaded him not to engage in these connections before, but he just didn't listen, and he said that this kind of place is perfect for an information transfer station. Hey, when I come to power in the future, I will definitely seal off this corrupt place. Zhao Wei groaned twice, and then said sincerely. Good guy. There is such a grand ambition. If his father knew what he was thinking, he would probably beat him to death every minute, right? It is indeed difficult to raise this prodigal son. But this Zhao Wei's father is indeed quite discerning. Generally speaking, people who come and go in places like this are people of various religions and 9 streams. There are all kinds of people of these 3 religions and 9 streams, so there will be more news spread. It is indeed wise to seek such information from them to a certain extent. Fang Fan thought to himself, then nodded silently. The doorway inside is still very pure. Anyway, thinking of this, it is basically stable. Because of Zhao Wei's relationship, Fang Fan and others can enter the Yanchun Tower without hindrance. At a glance, it looks extremely clear. There are singing and singing, everything is there. A large expanse of white skin is displayed, which is quite dizzying. Anyway, it looks very pure like this. Inexplicably followed by a full-fledged takeoff. How can you do this? Then, are those clothes? Why are you saving fabric so much? And those legs, it's basically equivalent to being completely exposed. Oh my god, how can it be like this? I can't take it, I can't take it. Terrible. Ah. It's a headache just looking at it. Husband, you are not allowed to look.